Lately, the sports media world has found its favorite new narrative. Caitlin Clark can't play defense. Critics like Jason Whitlock are pointing at recent games where opposing offenses clear the floor, force Clark into an isolation mismatch, and attack her one-on-one. The result? Opposing players dropping 29 or 30 points directly on Clark, getting to the basket, and drawing fouls for easy three-point plays. Whitlock and others are using this to question her status as a generational talent, with some even tossing around the word bust. But if you actually understand the X's and O's of basketball, you know this isn't a Caitlin Clark problem. It's a systemic coaching failure. Today, we are going to break down exactly why blaming Clark for these breakdowns completely misunderstands how superstar talent is managed, and exactly what Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White needs to do to fix it. Let's be incredibly clear. You do not draft a generational offensive engine to be your one-on-one lockdown defender. History proves this. Look at Allen Iverson. Hall of Fame coach Larry Brown didn't ask AI to lock down the opposing team's best guard. He put Eric Snow on the primary threat, allowing Iverson to play team defense, roam the passing lanes, and get steals. Look at Magic Johnson. The Lakers had Michael Cooper to take on the toughest perimeter assignments. Magic was hidden on the weakest wing player. And look at Steph Curry. When teams try to hunt Curry in the pick and roll, Steve Kerr doesn't just let him get isolated on an island. The Warriors use Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green to cover the gaps. They use team schemes so Curry never gets stuck out of position. Generational offensive players are the system. The defense is designed to protect them, not expose them. This brings us to the Indiana Fever. As Sophie Cunningham pointed out in practice, the team is basically running only one defensive scheme right now, compared to the 9 they had last season. When you only run a basic switching man-to-man defense, you are handing the opposing offense the remote control. They run a pick and roll, force Clark to switch onto their best scorer, clear out the floor, and attack her in isolation. And what is the coaching response? Coach Stephanie White says in post-game pressers, "We have to do better guarding man-to-man." That isn't a strategy. That's throwing your superstar under the bus. You cannot win a basketball game by letting the opposing team's best offensive player score on Caitlin Clark at will while her teammates just stand and watch. So, how does Coach White fix this? If she wants to stop the bleeding and protect her franchise player, she needs to implement 3 strategies immediately. Number 1. Scram switching and pre-switching. When the opposing team starts to set up an isolation play targeting Clark, the Fever need to rotate before the play develops. A stronger perimeter defender needs to swap assignments with Clark off the ball, keeping her hidden on the opponent's weakest offensive threat. Number 2. The hedge and recover. Instead of Clark switching onto the ball handler during a screen and getting stuck, she needs to briefly step out, or show, to stall the ball handler, and then immediately scramble back to her original assignment while her teammate fights over the screen. And number 3. Play a zone defense. If a team is eating you alive in isolation, throw a 2-3 or a 3-2 zone at them. Zone defense is designed for team help. It forces the opposing team to beat you from the outside and completely eliminates the one-on-one mismatch. Yes, you might give up some three-pointers, but it stops the 30-point bleeding in the paint and keeps Clark out of foul trouble. To Jason Whitlock and anyone calling Caitlin Clark a bust because she gets targeted on defense, you are analyzing the game in a vacuum. Her gravity on offense, her elite court vision, and her shooting range are what make her a once-in-a-lifetime talent. She is still heavily in the MVP conversation for a reason. The Indiana Fever as a whole are struggling defensively. That is a collective failure of execution and scheme, not the failure of one player. Caitlin Clark is a solid team defender when put in the right spots. It is time for Coach Stephanie White to pull a page out of the playbooks of Steve Kerr, Larry Brown, and Pat Riley. Protect your superstar, change the scheme, and stop leaving her on an island. What do you guys think? Is the coaching staff failing Caitlin Clark on the defensive end? Let me know in the comments below, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.